All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Music Log platform. My name is Shadé, your host, and I am here with our very special guest today. She is a educational advocate. She is the director of special education in New York City public school system, and she has just released her newest book, Beyond the Bell. This is Dr. Hislop. Welcome to the platform.
Thank you for having me.
It is so great to have you here. I am a mental health advocate myself, and my background is in psychology. So I'm very interested and excited to hear what you have for us tonight. But we're going to get right into it. So your book is titled Beyond the Bell. So why that title?
Beyond the Bell was born out of a need to create more collaboration with parents. I wanted parents to know that the work does not end at the school or in the classroom, but there's so much that parents can do to support their neurodiverse children at home. And that's why I named the book Beyond the Bell, because I'm thinking after school is dismissed and we no longer hear that bell, how can we collaborate together, parents and educators, to make the story of a neurodiverse child a solid success narrative?
I love that. I definitely agree. Having worked in the school system myself as well, I have definitely experienced both sides of the coin. I'm not a parent myself, but I get it from both being in the school system, working with parents, and working in the school system. It's a lot, and there has been a lot of gaps and miscommunications. And hopefully, this book and things of that nature can help bridge that gap. Was there a specific moment or experience that you could talk about that made you realize that this book needed to exist, like a specific type of gap that you kept seeing in classrooms or when meeting with parents?
Well, I've been a principal and an assistant principal. So I worked as a school administrator for about 12 years. And many times parents did not know that they did not know. We must realize that a child will not just go out there and exhibit behaviors if they knew how to do better. And neurodiverse children are not that way because they want it to be that way. A parent did not bring a child in the world and say, I want a neurodiverse child. This is something or someone that came into their lives. And now there's a learning that has to take place on how to navigate this situation, how to raise a child with differences. You may have 5 children at home, and one may be neurodiverse, and the parenting of that child looks totally different from the other 4. And I felt that parents really did not know. And there were many things that they could do that they would not do because they just did not know. And I wanted to raise awareness of how the partnership between the home and the school can bring such amazing results for neurodiverse children that if I did not write the book, I felt like I would be leaving a gap in the research and the practice.
Mm, I love that. I love that. I love the not only noticing that need, but acting upon it. Because a lot of people, they talk the talk, they're like, oh, things are not good, da 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 da, within the school system, or parents need to make sure that they're doing things more with their children. But it's rare that we get to see people actually doing something about it and acting something out or acting out something at least within their power too. So I think, at least in my opinion, that this would be a great book to get into the hands of parents. What about educators? Do you feel like educators could benefit from this book as well if they are working with children who are neurodivergent in their classrooms?
Yes, educators can definitely benefit from the book. You can't take people on a journey that you've never been. And parents are looking to educators for support. And if, as an educator, you know all the classroom practices, but you don't know how to tell a parent at a parent teachers conference how to support their child, then you still have not been able to fully help that child. So I think educators can use the practices to support parents at parent teachers conferences or even daily phone calls, as opposed to calling a parent and saying, your child did XYZ in school today and they had such a bad day. Why not call and say your child did this today, but I'm hoping that you can try this at home so that you can help this child to not display these behaviors again. If educators came from a more solution-minded approach, parents would be more inclined to work with us. No parent wants to constantly get a phone call that their child is being bad. It's annoying. So I think educators can also benefit from the book because it gives them the lens and the talking points to have successful conversations with parents.
In the book, you emphasize more so working with or the importance of confidence over fixing, essentially. How would you define success for a neurodiverse child versus somebody or a child who could benefit from a more traditional experience when it comes to school and home?
I think it varies child by child, and there's no one size fit all or a single definition. But if I were to say what success should look like for a neurodiverse child, it would be allowing that child to reach their fullest potential and finding a way to integrate into the world if it's at all possible for them. Now, I am not saying that every neurodiverse child will successfully integrate into the world. There are some children that never mature to be all that they can be because of a number of debilitating factors. But there are quite a number of them that can be more and should be more, but no one took the time to help them to become more. And those children can be identified and they can be really pushed into a direction that would lead them to success. There are many successful people with disabilities, and there's a reason for their success. And there are people with the same classification who rely on the system every day for support because no one gave them the tools to be successful. So I believe that it is an individual case, but a child should be made to be all that they can become in the world by finding what their talents are, their strengths, what they can do well, and building upon that so that they can move into a successful stage in life.
I actually want to back up a little bit because I just thought of something. We've been talking about uh, children who are neurodiverse, but for a parent or a listener who may just think that neurodiversity is one thing or just one diagnosis on the spectrum, could we possibly go into a little bit of what neurodiversity entails? Essentially, more so the various uh, disorders. I don't necessarily want to call them disorders, but the various titles or terms or labels that neurodiversity encompasses.
Well, in a nutshell, it entails any child that requires that has special needs, and that can vary. You can have kids with learning disabilities, emotional disabilities, physical autism. You can have other health impairments such as attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Any disability, anything that prevents a child from performing at the same rate as their peers and has been labeled as a disability, whether on an IEP at the school or whether by neuropsychological testing, these are children that we consider special needs or neurodiverse children. It's a difference in the way they process things and the lifestyle that they enjoy. So we want to give them an opportunity to learn. And my book focuses a lot on how to help them to even navigate the stigma and bias of their disability because they are coming into a world that is very hostile. It is hostile for people without neurodiverse needs. far less people who showcase these needs. So we have to train these children how to build their own self-confidence and their self-esteem. That's a whole section of the book. Even getting them to build healthy relationships. We have to teach them so that people don't take advantage of them because they can be preyed upon. So these are some of the realities that the book would address for these students and their families.
That is a lot for not only the child to navigate, but also the parents and the caregivers.
Yes.
For those parents or caregivers who are feeling overwhelmed or they're not sure to start, let's say maybe they're just starting the IEP process at school, like they're just starting to figure some things out, and they're feeling like this is too much. What is the first, I'll say, mindset shift that you would like them to make?
Another chapter in the book, caring for the caregiver. That's an entire chapter. And I think I would want parents to start from the mindset that there is hope. There are things that can be tried and help that can come for these children. I don't want parents to think that it's a hopeless cause and my child is lost. I want parents to think that there is hope. And maybe if I try something new, I may get a new result.
Now, I also want to dive into another section of the book, which is also a hot topic in the world today because everybody is addicted to their phones. Everybody is on the screen. We have these little tiny computers in our pockets at all times. And screen time has been a big concern for many families for honestly, I would say since at least right before COVID, it really ramped up during then. What is one of your favorite strategies, I would say, from the book that you feel like could be a game changer?
I think the screen time has to be monitored. Even as an adult, I monitor my screen time. Like I put myself on a limit for even social media. Like my social media account will say my time limit is up today because I've limited myself of the amount of time that I'm going to spend on Facebook and Instagram and social media. So as an adult, I've done that. And I think sometimes parents leave the child to be parented by the device. And too much of that screen time will definitely hurt that child. So it's something that has to be monitored. And the more of a structure you give to a child with neurodiverse needs, the more they are positioned for success. So I tell parents, you have to put them on a schedule and you have to let them know 30 minutes of free time, 30 minutes of screen time. You have to let them know and monitor these things because you don't want a child to raise themselves and you don't want them looking at things that cause them more harm than anything else. So the book deals with that, and I'm not going to give away everything from that chapter, but I'm going to say that there's a lot of learning there for parents.
Yes. I will see if I can poke and prod and just grab what like one more thing from that chapter, because we did start talking about how too much screen time can be essentially detrimental to their success and to their development. I have seen many parents who um, almost, like you said, have the screen time parentify the child where maybe they're having an outburst or they give them the iPads to calm down. But what is one or two things if you could share that could stem from too much screen time, a unwanted behavior, or something that parents may not be realizing that this could be coming from the screen time?
I think the inability to focus on the academic work in the classroom because it's never going to be able to compete with the amount of animations that fly across the screen in any 30 seconds. And I think a lot of the times when they are on the screen and playing video games and stuff, they focus on that alone. They are not allowing themselves to grow the brain in other ways that can lead to more success. So they limit a lot of learning by focusing on winning that one game every single day. Whereas if they had another device or another task to perform, then it would grow them. So what I advise parents to do is that you can also have academic games and academic work on the computer for the child to do. They can read from the computer. They can answer questions. There are many schools that offer platforms for parents where kids can work on their academic deficits and it's personalized to them. Like, for example, iReady. iReady is a platform where kids can take an assessment. It will diagnose all their weaknesses, and then they can go on and it will customize the lessons for them. So if a child is doing this 30 minutes a day, the research has shown that they do progress. So what can you learn in 30 minutes by filling your academic gaps, as opposed to what can you learn by just playing this video game all the time, right? The vendors of the video games are millionaires, and where are you? Where are you? So I think it limits learning and it limits the amount of new knowledge that a child can acquire to become successful.
Those are definitely valid points. I remember what I had the biggest smile when you said iReady because when I worked in the school system right before COVID, it was iReady, well, not every day, but pretty frequently. And the kids were like, yes, iReady. This was before the classrooms got a really big push for doing a lot of things on the computer. So when they got their computer time, oh, them kids was so happy to at least have something. But uh, this kind of goes into creating supportive environments because they already have, or they should have at least, a supportive environment in the classroom. Um, and you did mention changing over to some educational games in the home. But is there any other thing, even a small change at home, that could make a big impact? It doesn't have to relate to technology or screen time.
I think one of the biggest things in the home for children with neurodiverse needs is when a parent is educated and when they learn the strategies that they consistently implement them. I'm not talking about you hear about this today and you're all excited about it and you start it and then 2 or 3 days later you drop it. I'm talking about learning the strategies and consistently implementing them. So one of the strategies that I'm proposing is that you create a schedule for these children even at home, so that when they practice following a schedule at home, they can practice following a schedule at school. That you focus on one thing at a time, building that perceptual concentration. When you're having dinner at the table, you're not looking at the television at the same time. When you are playing with your toys, you're not looking at the television at the same time. You're doing one thing at a time to build perceptual concentration. And that's one thing is also on your schedule. Simple tweaks like that, when you take it into the classroom, it helps the child because now the child is accustomed being on a schedule. They know that they have to focus on this one thing at a time. The teacher is talking, so you're not playing under the desk, and stuff like that. These are simple little quick wins that can help a child.
Most definitely, and I feel like it also benefits the parent as well because it puts them on a schedule as well. So everybody knows what's coming
Yeah.
up. Everybody
Mhm.
knows in 30 minutes it's dinner time. We're gonna put away the iPad. We're gonna start setting the table. Now, going back to caring for the caregiver, navigating special education can feel really intimidating. It's a world that isn't necessarily explained in the parent handbook where it's like, okay, you have a baby. Woo, there you go. This is the entire chapter on navigating how to make sure that your child is successful in school. But regardless, you have your book now. So, what do you want parents to understand about advocating for their child effectively without burning out?
A lot of parents suffer from burnout because they don't know how to navigate the situation. And that's just really the truth. But my advice would be to put the work in upfront and then you can relax. Because when you build independence in that child, you don't have to take care of them for the rest of your life. So if you do the work up front and you help them develop the skills and build independence in them and the self-esteem and the confidence to even try something new so that they can be successful, then as the time rolls on, you'll be able to sit back and enjoy their success. You will be able to even support other parents, join support groups, talk to people, hear about what's happening with their child. What are you trying? What didn't I try? What's working? What's not working? Like, one of the biggest things is finding the support that you need and knowing that you're not alone. You are not alone. You're not the only parent going through this. And you don't have to make all the mistakes for yourself. You can learn from others. Someone made that mistake before, and whether you read about it or you hear about it, you don't have to make it yourself. So I think my first thing to tell parents would be, you're not alone. Find ways to educate yourself so that you can make a difference for your child and for yourself. Nothing is as hard as it looks when you know exactly the way to approach it. Now, when you don't know what you're doing, it's always going to look hard. But when you really know what you're doing, you know how to navigate that situation. For someone watching someone in the kitchen cooking a 10-course meal, they're like, wow, how are you making all these 10 different things? But when you love to cook and you know how to cook, you could finish those 10 courses in no time. So a lot of it stems from educating yourself. And how are you going to educate yourself? You're going to read and do the research. And you also want to talk to people who are going through the same thing or who have gone through it. And then when you get your success, you find a way to help others. And once we come with it, with that mindset, a lot will change in the world.
Listen, you speak so eloquently with so much grace and also with so much what's the word that I want to use, with so much encouragement as well. I'm pretty sure some parents out here are listening and thinking like, can she help me out? Like I know she's busy and all, but my question is, do you also do your own groups for parents or speaking engagements or things of that nature?
I do. I do. And once I am on LinkedIn, I am on Facebook, I am on Instagram, and I'm on all social media platforms. So once you reach out to me, we will find a way to make it happen. But I do not service parents on a private basis if you are within the New York City public school system. That will be a conflict of interest for me. But we do offer quite a bit of workshops and programming for parents who need support within that system. But outside of New York City, I do help and offer parent support.
That's amazing. I love that the system or the New York City public school system offers these things to parents and caretakers. Is there do they provide a website or is there a specific thing that the parents should be looking for in order to take advantage of these?
Yes, we do. On our New York City Department of Education website, if you go on the New York City Public School site, you will see a lot of resources for parents, specialized programs that we have. We also have another organization called Include NYC. They run a lot of workshops for parents and supports. We have Child Mind Institute. We have a lot of organizations offering supports here for students with neurodiverse needs in New York City. It's not a lack of support, it's a lack of making the time to get support.
Yes, yes. Everybody is busy, but honestly, when it comes to the success of your child, I don't think that anybody should be too busy for that.
Right.
Somebody will make time. Somebody will make time. So, going back to the relationship or collaboration between families and educators, another hot topic on social media with, parents saying, "Oh, I don't have time. The teachers need to do XYZ." And the parents um or rather the teachers are like, parents need to spend more time with their kids. How can we figure out how to collaborate better as a community, especially when the communication has been strained and difficult, maybe in specific instances of a parent and a teacher not necessarily seeing eye to eye, but now they have to collaborate to provide the best care for their child. What could they do to possibly repair or at least move forward in a cordial way?
I think before you can repair anything, you have to be educated on what the repair process looks like. If you have a broken stove, you cannot repair that stove until you know how to fix it. You have to know what is missing and what you need to get. And that's the work that has to happen between the educators and the parents. You have to identify, what do we need to do differently here? And how can we collaborate and support each other in doing what we need to do for this child? And I always say that at the end of the day, parents, it is to your advantage to work with the teachers, because teachers come and go. Every year it's a new teacher, but you have this child for life. So it is to your advantage to find a way to work with the teacher. Now, I know that there are cases where parents are fed up. I know that. And I know why as well, because there are teachers who are not as empathetic as they should be with these children. And there are teachers who don't always have the skill set to deal with them. But these teachers also need to work on gathering knowledge on how to approach neurodiverse children. But the collaboration, the power of the collaboration between the parent and the child and the teacher cannot be overemphasized. Because if I come to you and I tell you, hey, my child has a neurodiverse need, and if you do XYZ in the classroom, you'll see some results. Then here is a parent who is informed, who can tell a teacher, hey, this works for my child. A teacher has 27, 25, 26 kids, right? You have that child that is your priority. So you should know that child so well that you know what works for that child. When it's time for the IEP process, you're not going in there blind. You're going in there as an informed parent. Nobody can tell you best what your child needs. You can add to that conversation. You don't have to sit there and take everything that is thrown at you. You can say, well, I'd like to add this because at home I've tried this and this works. And that collaboration gives a lot of positive results for all stakeholders. So I highly recommend the education of every stakeholder to make the repair of broken relationships.
Yes. Everybody in that situation is coming in with a different perspective and different strengths. But going to the kids, how do you think we can help children see their neurodiversity as a strength and not a deficit?
Well, it's what you tell them. Remember, a child comes into the world with a blank slate, a brain that knows nothing. A child learns hate and love from all those around him. A child learns prejudice from those around him. So if you want your child to feel successful and to feel confident, you have to build that within your child. It's hard to break a very confident child. It's very hard. And people know when you walk in a room with confidence. People can tell. They know when they can prey on you, and they know when you're not someone they can mess with. So, in spite of your child's diversity, whatever you can do to build up that child, the book talks about celebrating the small victories. Whatever you can find to celebrate and to accelerate for that child, that's what you do. You want that child to know you're good at drawing these pictures. I told one parent, I said, every time that child draws a picture, frame it, put it, make a big deal out of it. One child could not do anything much in school, but he could build Legos. I said, when he builds those Legos, take a picture of it, make a wall of fame in your home, celebrate your child. No one else may be a cheerleader, but as the parent, you have to be a cheerleader, because eventually what you are doing is building a child who can step out there and say, I'm good at something.
Most definitely. That instilling confidence in a child is so important. I work as a mental health coach with children now, especially a lot who have anxiety, and the amount of children that I'm coming across in my caseload that have little confidence in their skills or abilities is it's heartbreaking, it's saddening, and to the point where kids nowadays feel uncomfortable receiving praise because it's just not something that they're used to. And it doesn't mean that their parents love them any less, but it just means that it probably should have been something that should have been paid more attention to when they were younger. So I definitely agree with you that instilling that confidence in a child, especially when they are younger, is of the utmost importance. All right. So, if a parent or a caregiver or an educator only remembers one message from Beyond the Bell, they read the whole book and for some reason their whole memory is wiped except for one thing. What is that thing that you hope that it is?
The power of collaboration between all stakeholders involved in the life of a child. I want them to know that there are many strategies that they can use. And once these strategies are implemented consistently, results will be evident in the life of a child.
That's really good. That's really good. That's definitely going to stick with me now. Okay, so we mentioned very briefly about where people can find you on social media, but we didn't give them all the info. So, if somebody wants to reach out to you, whether it is a company who wants to collaborate or request a speaking engagement, or people just want to follow you and learn more about you and learn where else they can get the book, what are your social media handles? Let's say Instagram, LinkedIn, etc.
It's my name, CherryAnn Joseph-Hislop.
Okay.
That's what you'll find.
Sweet and simple. No underscores or periods or anything, just
Nothing,
straight.
no hidden names, no second or third names, just my name, CherryAnn Joseph-Hislop. And I am on all social media platforms, and you can reach me there, and we can always set something up that would benefit your stakeholders.
Awesome. All right. So before we wrap up today, was there anything else if we didn't get to it, or there was something that you just really felt on your heart to say, just like, ooh, this is something that needs to be said? Anything else at all for the audience at home?
I think we covered it all, but I really want everyone at home to know that the work does not end at the dismissal bell. The work for successfully raising a neurodiverse child and building a child with confidence to function in the world happens beyond the bell, at home, and between the 8 o'clock bell and the dismissal bell. Let's come together and do what we can for our children, because at the end of the day, success is not just a story, it's a reality if we work hard to achieve it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hislop. It has been a pleasure having you. And everybody, y'all need to get this book now. Okay. Ensure the success of your child and their future now. Sooner is better than later. And you might want to put it off. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. You better do it now. Come on now. Your child is sitting here growing every day, getting older by the day. Soon it's going to be 3 years. Like, oh my God, I should have gotten that book. Where can I get the book? Book sold out. Now you can't find it. Should have gotten it now. All right, everybody. I am your host, Shadé. This is Musalog. And we will see you again on the interwebs. Bye bye.
Thank you.